Welcome back to another edition of the Course Creation Incubator Podcast. I'm Gina Anativia, your host for your entrepreneurial and course creation journey, here to get you stoked about what you're building and how you're taking an idea and turning it into an online course. So I just did this summit and I was asked about my own entrepreneurial journey. Now, Jesse, this expert who was interviewing me, really dug in and asked me to share some of the bigger mistakes that I've made as a business owner. And I'm thinking that some skeletons were really meant to stay in the closet, but I had to dig them out for this event. And I've talked about mistakes before on this podcast, like giving away too many freebies or not really putting myself in the forefront. But the big bugaboo was when I launched this other idea. And this was before I started doing courses and really niched down on that. I was going to teach women, or I did teach women, or I tried to teach women how to be really great consultants. This was years ago. And because I thought I was a really cool ex-New Yorker, I thought, hey, I'll teach others how to get clients. This will be my jam. And I had a coach support me through this entire process. I had a mastermind behind me. I've had Vic on the show before. I'll link to that amazing podcast in the show notes. And I went through all the steps. I launched a freebie. I launched an offer. And it wasn't crickets per se, but I definitely didn't see a lot of traction. And when I said I do courses, like I had worked for Tony Robbins for years and years and knew how to create courses, people would say, oh, that's cool. Can you teach me how to build a course? Or can you do it for me? And I thought, there's something here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing the consulting thing, like teaching people how to consult. Maybe I should be teaching how to do courses instead. So here I am. I'm launching this other business. It's in full effect. And my people really want courses. So what do? I pivot, I stop what I was doing. And I adapted and Course Creation Boutique was born. So my first idea didn't exactly work, but I'm really happy that I did it. I wouldn't be here today and have the business I have today if I hadn't done it, if I hadn't gone through all those steps, if I hadn't gone down that path. And by the way, you'll find that most people who succeeded in this business really bombed at first with some misguided ideas. Like, I know you've listened to other podcasts of other experts who started out with something that they are way far away from today, but they wouldn't be here today if they hadn't went to market with that first idea. So I pivoted to courses, like I said, and now I have my 6-week accelerator. I've got my Done For You package, and I'm so grateful for the journey. So if you're worried about what you're putting together right now, or if you feel like you're spending a lot of time and energy with this one idea, my job today is to convince you to stick with it. So I want to walk through 4 reasons why I want you to commit to the idea that's in your head, it's on your desktop, it's in Google Docs, wherever it is, I want you to commit to your idea. Now, before I jump in, make sure to subscribe because I want to make sure you're getting these workshops week to week. You're seeing the value, you're building momentum in your business. And also, if you want to get coached by me in an upcoming episode of The Incubator, go to coursecreationboutique.com/getcoachedbygina. You fill in an application, you and I will hop on a recording session together. We'll talk through whatever's holding you back in terms of maybe it's your course idea or your topic or your outline or how you plan to market or sell it. Whatever's holding you back, let's talk through it and go through a coaching session. So I'd love for you to fill out an application to get that done. All right, let's talk about those 4 reasons why I want you to stick with your course idea and ultimately launch. First and foremost, you likely already have content to work from. You have an outline. I talk to so many of you who say, hey, I have an idea and I actually have outlined it and I started a couple of the scripts. Most of you out there have started in some way. If you're listening to this podcast and I want to take advantage of what you've already started on, I talked to a course creator, this was a few months ago, who was in progress on our course. She had an outline. She had a couple of scripts done. She had a website, a simple website done. Then life got in the way. And I hear that a lot, by the way. So if life is getting in the way for you right now, just know you're not alone and it's going to be okay. You're just going to pick your course or your program back up when you're ready. and then build that momentum back. Because that's what's really important. When I see it all the time, when course creators have been working on a course for months into years, is putting it down and then how do you gain that momentum again? I mean, in terms of any project, right? After I batch my podcast, I take a break, and then it's always tough to rev back up. So as much as possible, if you could stay in the flow and stay in that momentum, then you'll be gold. Then you'll be on your way to getting your course out to market. So going back to this course creator, she had all these great assets already built out, maybe not refined, but started. And then she said, well, I've started on this journey, but I also have this other idea kind of tugging at me. And I said, that's fine about this other idea, but I want you to go to the place that you feel like you have the biggest demand, people are asking, and you already have a great start. Because she did. She had a great start. She had validation. She knew she had a fun idea that people would respond to. It's just a matter of tweaking it and tweaking the course promise to really work for her. So if you already have a great start, and a lot of times, by the way, when we lose momentum, your course becomes less sexy. The course that you started working on isn't so fancy because at the beginning you were excited about it and then you had to take a pause. When you lose that momentum, maybe it loses a bit of the shine. But I just want you to know, if it's started, if you have a half-started course or you have any kind of assets already created, I think it's sexy. I think that is a course to embrace, and I really want you to go for it. So if you already have something that's partly built or started, stick with it. It'll be an easier process to get it done. And I'll link to the episode where I talk about ways to get your course done, because I think that's a really good episode. It's low-risk ways to get your course out there. All right, the second reason why I want you to move forward with your idea, hey, it might not be your first idea, right? But it's what is the right idea for now, is it's a fantastic exercise to see your idea through. I talked about earlier how grateful I am that I took that program to fruition, that consulting program, even though it kind of bombed, right? But I didn't know what I didn't know. I hear this all the time with course creators when they launch. Wow, I didn't realize the steps. I didn't realize how I'd have to set up the welcome experience, or how to go through the steps of my webinar, or to create my video sales letter. I didn't know how I was marketing the course or how I would get feedback from the people that were buying. But going through that process, I'm telling you, is so meaningful. Think about anything that you tried out for the first time. Maybe you decided to become the art docent at your kid's school and you've never taught art before, always had a passion, but never taught it before. Or you decided to take up tennis or squash, or you joined a club. You don't know what you're getting into until you get into it, right? So the process of going through it is invaluable. And now the first time you do it, it's always going to be the hardest or the messiest. But in seeing it through, even if your launch doesn't go as planned, you will learn so much that will make things easier for your next launch or future courses. Also, if you look at any of the big names in the online space, they only reached the pinnacle of success because they saw things through and they made some very messy mistakes along the way. And for every big success story, I would be willing to bet there are hundreds, if not thousands, of would-be course creators who never saw their idea through to completion. Trust me, I talk to these people every week. I want you to be one of the few that commits. If you're listening to this podcast, you're going to get to the finish line. Seeing your ideas through is one of the key steps to greater success, but you got to be willing to take messy, imperfect action, what we talk about all the time. So it's another reason why I want you to commit to your idea. All right, the third reason is because you might waver. Now, wavering might become your pattern, and I've seen it, but I want you not to waver and chase the squirrels. Yes, I'll link to that episode too. I want you to be committed because this is who you are as a course creator. I think one of the common characteristics of entrepreneurs is that we're creative, right? We've got a lot of different ideas, a lot of different visions. So we see so many possibilities. And while these can be strengths, if you don't have that commitment to stay the course, yes, pun intended, you can find yourself bouncing from one idea to another without ever seeing things through or building long-term success. Ideally, if you're creating a course, you've already done some market validation. You know you're creating something of value that your audience is willing to pay for, And seeing that through to completion will support them and your goals for your business. If you're starting to waver, remember the reasons why you're creating this program. And if new ideas come in, which they inevitably will, you can always start an idea bank and come back to those at some point down the road. Now, my fourth and final reason why I want you to commit and take that leap with this course idea is you need to put it out there and see what works and what doesn't work. You might have the right delivery, wrong audience. Right audience, wrong delivery. Kind of the right course topic, but maybe you need an offshoot. Maybe you need to go deeper. You just don't know what people really want until you put it out there for them, right? Like me putting out that consulting course and program and people saying, no, Gina, we really want the course stuff. If you really want your course to make a difference, you can think about marketing as being all about helping those people who need your course. The world is busy. The online space is busy. If you want to help them find your course because you know it will help them, you have to make it easy as possible for them to discover you. And that means putting yourself out there. Remember, no one creates the perfect course on the first try. Every course creator I know has started with a solid course and then adapted their program as they get feedback. The only way you can create something truly outstanding is to put something out there and start getting feedback to make the next round even better. And if you put a course out there and hear crickets, just know you're not alone. There are so many little adjustments we can make to increase our success, but we really don't know where to make those adjustments until, again, what's the theme here? Until you put it out there and see how it goes. Hey, I know this is scary and this is part of business. Whatever you're putting out there, you will get feedback, and feedback is gold because that means somebody paid attention. I was hearing about this course creator the other day who said that she put out a course. It was a lower price point course. This was like a friend of a friend. And she sent one email and nobody bought. So she said she was moving on. Now that's the worst thing for me to hear as a course coach. I'm not her coach, but to hear it even second or third hand because you don't send one email and move on. I'll link to the show notes on this episode I did about your course promotion is not a whisper, right? It's not one email. It's not a couple of social posts, guys. You got to really put it out there multiple times. We fix, we revise, we pivot. We continue to launch to see what works and doesn't work. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. And I know it's tough, but again, that's part of the journey. Again, you need to see what's resonating with your people, and you can't do that unless you stick with your idea and you launch. Hopefully you got a lot out of this episode. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss one workshop. Next week, we're going to workshop your unique copy voice, how to make sure you stand apart. It is something I'm passionate about after working with clients for years and years and working on my own voice. So if this podcast has impacted you in a positive way or your business, I would love for you to leave me a review. Until next week, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.